Hey, how are
Somebody?
you? Hi.
Hello, Murielle. Hi, Mike.
Wow.
Hey, how are you?
Marsha,
Great.
Tamar, Jill, Julie.
Hi.
So we cannot see you, Elisa. Just
Oh,
saying.
yeah, right. I got to turn my video on, right?
On so they can see you guys.
I'm not turning. Wait.
Look, I'm in my sukkah. Muriel is in her sukkah.
I know. I want to take away my virtual. You can see. My sukkah.
Nice.
You see?
Everybody's in their booth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Looking good, Elisa.
Yes.
Sweet.
Hi, Lori.
Hey, Lisa.
How are
Your
you?
house looks gorgeous.
Oh, this is not mine. I'm actually staying with friends. We have we moved our things on Wednesday. Everything is in the place that we will one day move to. We're staying with friends, and then tomorrow we're going up to stay at a place very close by so we can kind of get the workers to finish everything up so we can move in.
Okay.
You're a private exodus right now.
Yeah. So, very generous friends that have put us up with 3 children.
It's good.
It's good. It's good. All good. It's all good.
Good luck.
Thank you. I'm going to make Itamar, I'm going to make you a.
No, but wait, do you have anything you want to show us for the introduction? Or
No, but I'm just going to make you and Muriel also. I think I'm her also a co-host. And no, I'm just going to, I just want to talk, but if in case anybody comes on that's in the waiting room, please let them know.
Yeah, I'll follow.
I will get started because we have a very intense program tonight. Oops, here comes Vivian. And we have Hila, who's joining from California.
Hi, Hila.
Hey.
Hi, Hila. My cousin from California. So we're going to get started, and I am going to say hello. Hello, actually, I'm going
you guys.
to ask. Yes, if you can mute everybody.
Yeah, I'm muting everyone.
Sorry, I'd love to hear, but we have a big program. We can chat a little more at the end. Shalom, Chaverim. Happy holidays, or as we say in the days between the Sukkot holiday and Torah, Moadim l'Simcha.
I think it's coming from you, Elisa, maybe? Is there some noise coming from you? No, it's not you, Vivian. I'm muting her. I think now it should be fine.
Yeah, we're fine. So anyway, my name is Elisa Moed, and I'm the CEO of Traveluya, based in Israel, where the time now is 9 p.m. And it is Sukkot, the first intermediate day of Sukkot. And my company, Traveluya, for those of you who are not familiar with my company, is the expert source on Holy Land travel. And my website, which you can visit if you wish at some point, has about 1,000 pages of regularly refreshed content. And we arrange special trips, during obviously non-COVID periods, which we haven't had for about 8 months now. But we do arrange special trips to Israel for families, individuals, churches, Jewish federations, interfaith groups, and all sorts of different types of groups and churches, and you name it. And as you know, for the last 8 months, because of COVID, we have pivoted and we have been curating all sorts of virtual tours. And we have a regular Sunday day, if you're Eastern Standard Time or Pacific Time, session. And this is our special Sunday session. We're open to anybody who wishes to join. And while many of our online tours, as some of you know, have focused specifically on biblical Israel, today's program is a little different. We have pivoted over to looking at real life in Israel, which we've done before, and we do this every so often. But in honor, in celebration of Sukkot, and on this second full day of Sukkot, we want to take a deeper look. And Sukkot, for those of you who don't know, is a special feast, one of 3 pilgrimage holidays that commemorates the years that the Jewish people spent in the desert, the Israelites spent in the desert on their way to the Promised Land. And it celebrates the way in which God protected them under difficult desert conditions. It is an agricultural holiday in many ways, and it's one of, as I mentioned, 3 pilgrimage feasts of Israel. And so today's tour is going to take a look at that special aspect of the holiday. Itamar in a moment is going to expand a little bit upon that, give you a little background, and then we are going to turn to Murielle Cohen, who is one of Israel, if not the top Israel graffiti artist. She's a videographer, she's an actress. She counts the Sopranos is one of her, is on her resume for those of you who know Sopranos. The multi-talented Murielle Cohen is going to take us to her Moshav for an exclusive, up-close, and very curated look at what the holiday is there and what life in the Moshav is like. So we will really get a very personal experience led by Murielle. So I don't want to go too much into to the happenings of the last week. Frankly, it has been a crazy week, as those of you in the U.S. know. It's been, just a roller coaster. So, but I do just want to take a moment and offer, I think the biggest news obviously is that President Trump is in the hospital, and I want to offer my prayers for a full recovery to all of you Americans and to the president and to his wife, the First Lady, Melania. I know it's a challenging time in America. It is a challenging time here. We are all in this together, and we, hold you in our prayers, and we wish this COVID-19 to disappear, and that there'll be a vaccine soon, and we'll be able to go back to our lives. And with that, I want to wish you all a Moadim L'Simcha. Again, thank you for joining. And I'm going to turn this over to Itamar.
Hello. So now I think you're spotlighted. Let me just, I think this is, now it's on me, which is great. Hello, guys. And for the occasion, I made for us a little presentation. Let me just go to the very beginning of it that's how my balcony looks like over here. I live in the southern part of Jerusalem. And in as much as there's much to say about this view, this is the valley of Rephaem. It's mentioned in the Bible many times, like over here. Today there is a mall and an arena, basketball arena, soccer stadium, where the Giants used to walk. So the Valley of Rephaim again. But I'm interested in looking at this. You see what's going on? Just maybe I'll use here. Over here, you see this tent being built over here. This is the Ashkenazi Synagogue of the neighborhood now. It's an outdoor synagogue at the moment. No one's allowed to pray in the synagogues. And meters away from it, just over here, you see another canopy. That's the Sephardi synagogue over here. I'm not even kidding. This is really a Sephardi synagogue over there. So every morning, and I mean, you can hear the prayer all the time, and then the muazzin, the Muslim call for prayer, is coming from the neighboring Arab neighborhood. So big celebration over here in southern Jerusalem. Again, that's when they were building their little outdoor synagogue. This is the Sephardi synagogue, and you can see this is the place where they do the prayers towards north, towards the old city of Jerusalem. And over here you can see the Ark. This is where they keep the Torah scrolls. There you go. So that's to the left. It's the Ark in the Western Wall, very nicely decorated. There are many of them. This is just one of them. And here to the right, you see it's more improvised, temporary Ark. So they keep the Torah books over there. There's nothing to, I mean, again, in Judaism, the importance is not the building or the structures or the beauty of it. It's just about the important functions, which is the bima, the place where the man that leads the prayer stands, and the ark. Back to what we talked about in last week about the Kohen Gadol, the high priest that was walking between the altar and the ark, and the Holy of Holies. So the bima is standing for the altar, the prayer, and the Holy of Holies is represented by the ark just over here. So again, just to connect it to last week. About Sukkot, it says in Leviticus, live in temporary shelters for 7 days. All native-born Israelites are to live in such shelters, so your descendants will know that I had the Israelites live in temporary shelters when I brought them out of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So this is again the commandment, That's why we do it. But why in autumn time? Why not in springtime? If the Exodus started in springtime, why not just do it shortly after, let's say, Passover? So the idea is that if you go out in springtime to the fields, it makes a lot of sense, because maybe you have your crops over there, or the weather is warm, is getting warmer, so it's nice to be outside. But when you do it in autumn time, when it starts to be chilling, it's chilling, it's colder, it makes no sense for you to build it. So everyone will notice that you do it to commemorate something heavenly. This is the idea behind it. And also the Sukkah, which is a temporary building, temporary structure, is a symbol for the temporary corridor we live in. Our world is just a corridor for the afterlife, and the cloud that was sheltering or protecting the children of Israel in the desert. The Sukkah is a symbol for that as well. So about the size of the Sukkah, there is a lot of discussion about it in the Mishnah and the rabbinic literature. It shouldn't be too tall, but here's a big Sukkah at the western wall. That's how it looks like. Here is many little sukkahs at the tabernacle Sukkah, that's how we say, in Jerusalem. My private Sukkah, you see, it's not made of wood, it's just open to the winds. We just need 2.5 walls basically is enough. So I decided to keep this part open. And I want you to see a portable Sukkah, which could be tiny as this Chabad kid over here is taking this portable Sukkah from one place to the next, so people would have the chance to bless for the 4 species, the Lulav, that's the friend of the dates, the etrog, that's this citron, to bless it under a Sukkah. So he's driving, is like cruising in the streets of Jerusalem and inviting people over to say the blessing in a Sukkah, in a portable Sukkah. And as tiny as it is, it's kosher. It's kosher because Sukkah could be like less than a meter, I think. It's about a meter. It doesn't have to be too tall as well. It could be tiny and it's still kosher. So Leviticus and the 4 species. So beginning with the 15th day of the 7th month, which is now the 15th day of Tishrei, that's the 7th month. After you have gathered the crops of the land, okay, it's the end of the agriculture season. That's it, the circle has ended. Now we're going towards winter. So the circle of the agriculture, circle of life, let's say, ended, and it's gonna restart very soon. Celebrate the festival to the Lord for 7 days. The first day is a day of Sabbath rest, and the 8th day also is a day of Shabbat rest. On the first day, you are to take branches from luxuriant trees, from palms, willow, and other leafy trees. That's the myrtle, actually. And rejoice before the Lord the Lord your God for 7 days. So that explains again the 4 species. Here's my 4 species for this year. And that's how it looks like at the western wall. Yeah. This is my father-in-law over here to the left. We went to the western wall for one of the prayers. It's like from 2 years ago. So you can see there's like nature is entering to the city. It's beautiful with all these friends of dates. I want to show you how big the citron is. It could be very, very big. What you see over here is this Hasidic person over here, and he's holding a big friend of date with the myrtle and the willow. And over here, this big etrog. It's called Yemenite etrog. It's kind of a different species even, but it's massive. It's massive. It's just huge. I'll just say that in ancient synagogues, we talked about it in the past, we see mosaics with the Lulav. The Lulav is the friend of date, with the myrtle and willow over here, all attached together, and the etrog just over here. So this is in Tiberias. And this one is in the southern part of Tiberias, called Hamat. That's the name of this synagogue. So we can see the menorah. And over here, it looks like a sword, but a closer look, you'll see again the etrog and the 4 species. So that's how it looks like. And the main purpose of Sukkot is to unite the world and mankind and nature. Mankind and nature, Dirat Arai means that you get a temporary building outside, a temporary Sukkah. So you go out to the nature. It's to unite between mankind and nature. It's to unite between the different parts of Israel, different parts meaning the etrog that represents those who have Torah, that study the Torah and have good deeds. Lulav, it's the friend of date that has, it's for people that have the Torah but don't do any good deeds. Myrtle are those who have good deeds but no Torah, and willow have none of those too, meaning the sinners, let's call it. And the idea is to bring all the four parts of Israel together, and they will compensate for each other's disadvantages, let's say, and this way the children of Israel will stick together and unite. Also, Sukkot is for the unity between Israel and the nations. Shaking Lulav, when we shake the Lulav, when we have a certain way that we shake the Lulav to all four wings of the earth, and upside to heaven and down to earth, as if to unite all four corners of the earth. And I just remind you, when you go in and read in Leviticus, it also says that in the temple they used to sacrifice 70 bulls for the sake of the 70 nations. And the most important verse is actually from Zechariah that speaks about that one day in the future, all the nations will celebrate Sukkot. It says this: then the survivors from the Armageddon, you could say even, the survivors from all the nations that have attacked Jerusalem will go up year after year to worship the King, the Lord Almighty, and to celebrate the Festival of Tabernacles. So this is from Zechariah 14. It's a chapter that we read during Sukkot. So this is the purpose of Sukkot. It's an international celebration of monotheism, basically. So I'm ending with this amazing picture of the Hurva synagogue in the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem. And take a look how the people are walking around. Back in the ancient times of the temple, they walked around the altar. Today, they walk around the bima, again, the stage where they read the prayers. So again, you can see this amazing celebration. That's how it looked like in normal days. Today, we have this, as I said, temporary outdoor synagogues. So thank you very much. And that's it from my side.
Now
Okay.
we're going to turn it over
Nice.
to Murielle, who's at her Moshav down south of Tel Aviv. Murielle leads a lot of our graffiti tours in Tel Aviv. She's actually quite renowned for, as I mentioned, she's an actress, she's a videographer, but she started a very incredible and powerful series in Tel Aviv known as the Refugee Series. You can see it she has a website called Murielle Street Art, and her Refugee Series has actually been documented and published really, I think, in papers all over the world, because it really highlights some of the refugee issues that we also have here in Israel. You can learn more about that, but you can check that out online. But I'm so pleased that Murielle is working with us and taking us on this very special tour, the Moshav, to mark Sukkot. So please, Murielle.
Hello. Hi,
Well,
everyone. I'm really happy to be here. A little nervous because this is my first time on Zoom, but I'm excited. So I'll give you my experience as an outsider living in Israel. First, I'll start with coming to Israel was always a dream because my parents were there. They are and were Zionists. So our dream was always Israel. But then my parents, I come from a family of 6 children, and we're Moroccans. So we start getting married pretty young, and we're very traditional. So my sisters already got children at a very young age, and my parents, that dream to come to Israel kind of ended there because they couldn't part from their grandchildren. So let's just say I'm the first generation of my family to make that dream come true. So I'm here and I'm excited, and it was not easy in the beginning because as a foreigner, you have to learn a new language, new culture, new ways. It was just too different for me. So I needed to adapt. And of course, with language, that helped, but still today I have trouble with it. But I become Israeli, and I'm really excited about it. And I made a little presentation of my Moshav where I live today. So when I first came to Israel, I really didn't want to live in another city. I've lived in cities my whole life. I came from Montreal, and from Montreal, I went straight to Paris. I was a model, and then Milan. And from Milan, I lived in New York City for 11 years. And from New York City, so city to city to city to city, I come to this land and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to Tel Aviv or any other city. I'm going to live in the land to understand this move that I've made, because I thought it was very courageous to come to a new land and to not know the language, not even know a few words. So I came to Israel and I started a new life here. And I've got 3 children and an amazing husband. And I'm really thankful because this is the first time in my life that I actually feel home. I've never really felt home any other place. Although I loved New York, I loved all the other places, but this is home. When I have to go back home to meet my parents back in Montreal, I always cry on the plane because I always wish that I'll have the privilege to come back. It's this inner feeling, and it's weird because I've traveled around the world, but yet it's the only time in my life that I felt home, and this longing for Israel. So when after even 2-3 days, I'm at my parents, or we went on a trip with my family to Europe for 2 weeks, I longed for Israel this whole time. You would think when you travel, you would enjoy, but no, I wanted to come back. And I travel this country left and right. I love it. I love the people. Like when they give from the heart, and it's what you see is what you get. And I love that because it's the truth. And that's why I'm so in love with this place, because I found who I am as a person. And so I become Israeli. So I actually made 2 videos.
Awesome, Murielle.
Thank you. I made a few videos to introduce you during the day, because obviously this is 9 o'clock at night.
Yep.
And I would really love for you to see a little bit of the surrounding. Of course, because of COVID-19, I couldn't really approach too closely the people or whatnot. So I did my best. And I would love to present to you the first video, which is my family. So you get to see a little bit. My boys were a little shy, so they kind of left off to the side. But you'll see my son and my daughter and my husband, and the construction of the Sukkah. And then a little further.
Let me just add. Yeah.
Sorry?
No, I was just going to add to everybody that to let you all know that we will stop at a couple points for questions during Murielle's presentation, just in case you.
Okay, great. So let's start with the first presentation.
So I'll just say, Murielle, if you don't mind, I want people to be oriented of where we're going in Israel. So I live, as I said, in Jerusalem, just over here in the heart of the country. And we're going towards Gaza envelope and the city of Ashkelon to the Moshav of Murielle. Here you see Gaza city over here. So what is that, like 10 minutes drive from Erez, I guess, something like that?
Less than 10 minutes.
Yeah. So this is the Moshav. You can see the fields all around, and that's the place. Okay, so we'll start with number 1, right, Murielle?
Yes. And there's a cut in the middle because of the sound with my daughter, so you know where to cut, and then move towards the end.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So the only thing is that, yes, it worked. Perfect.
Okay, great.
You need me to share the sound, right? I should share the sound.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. Just tell me that you can hear everything.
This is my husband, and they're actually celebrating in a way, if you think about it, by reaping the crop. So here we have in our crops.
Can you hear anything?
Wait, let's cut. The video is not smooth.
It's not smooth, although
it's not smooth.
Compressed.
Is the second video also the same?
Let's give it a try.
My husband compressed that one extra, the smallest you could possibly put it in.
Yeah.
So
no, we
that
compressed
one will work.
these 2, but let me give it a chance. Wait. Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's not your fault.
No.
Internet.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me that you can hear it as well.
Hi.
Okay, so
you could hear him?
Yeah, but it's also
for a second. Okay, I'm starting again. Okay, just tell me that you can hear it.
Hi, my name is Eran Metsuyanim. I live in Moshav Gea since I born. My
No.
parents come here and my family come to
Doesn't go
Israel.
through?
No.
But you can hear it.
It's okay.
You can hear it, even if
No,
it
but it's
doesn't move.
not.
It's okay.
It's not. You
It's not
can't see the
smooth?
movement. No, I have Plan B and C. Okay, my husband has my husband has a video of it, and
what if we just play it
from the computer?
and you film it?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We have the computer. I'll film it from my phone, and you'll see it. You'll
Let's see
see.
how it goes.
Okay, so then I'll go straight to the second one, not the building of the sukkah, which I'll just show you in the meantime my sukkah. So my husband built it. Okay, I would really look at, first of all, the decoration. That's really beautiful. Look at the lights. We went all disco on it, right? And of course, my daughter's decorations. And I have this little girl that's really excited about this holiday. And we love spending a lot of time in the sukkah. As a matter of fact, I promised my son that I wouldn't bring the sukkah, any technology into the sukkah. And then I asked him his permission before I came back into the sukkah today to show you this. And I said, could I just bring friends over? Isn't that the spirit of sukkah? And he said, okay, for that, that's an exception. So this is why I'm in the sukkah right now. And I'm allowing this technology to go through. So my husband is putting on a video. Yeah, we'll put the first one. This is my husband, by the way. So he's being technical for all of you so you could see the video. We could put it really loud. And just a second. Let me know if you can hear it. Can I connect it to this?
No, just leave it kaha. I think.
Oh, I got an idea.
Strong.
I'll put it on sound. I'll put this on sound. No? Okay. So I just want to flip this. How do I flip this? Just a second. This is great. Okay. So should I stay straight or can I do this? No. Can I do that?
Fine.
Hello?
Yes.
Is this fine?
Yes,
Okay.
it works. It works.
Okay.
It works. As long as it's stable,
Okay,
it
yes.
works.
Okay, great. This is my husband, and they're actually celebrating in a way, if you think about it, by reaping the crop. So we have in our crops, Can you hear?
Yes.
Way more than this, but we have 2 huge olive trees in our backyard. So this is the house, and this is our crop. So here, paying honor to Sukkot, let us bring our crop to life. It's so therapeutic to be doing this. I love this. And look how nice it is. Friends coming together and finding the joy to celebrate something as beautiful as olives. So, how is it going here?
Tiring.
Yeah, can I see the work?
Yes.
Whoa, look at that.
These are the clean ones.
Wow,
Those
look at
dirty
that.
ones, the clean ones, the garbage.
But there's some olives in the garbage, I see.
Yeah, some of them have like mites or dots in them.
Oh, no
The only
dots.
ones that
Okay, right, of course. And how much of the tree have you guys worked on?
Maybe 10%.
10%,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
What are we going to do with the rest of the tree?
פחות, נכון? פחות מ10%.
No, yeah, we did 10%, yeah.
Maybe we should ask the neighbors to come and enjoy it. Okay, so an introduction to the Vashav. As you can see, they're all playing football. Doesn't matter what age you are over there. All ages. My son is the one with the white kind of shirt over there. And that's his father's friend, the guy in the green shirt over there. So whatever. This is a part of it. This is a park. It's like the center of the Moshav. As you can see, it's pretty active and a lot of trees and a lot of people, a lot of children. It's very much it's like a real community. And the houses are all around. You can see they're built all individually. It's very different than a kibbutz. Kibbutz, the houses are all the same. Not many cars go inside. The cars stay on the outside. Here, the cars go inside. It's kind of like a little tiny village, private. It's like a private section. That's what it is, where the community is very strong, as you can see. My husband is building the base over here, which is out of metal. And this is what it looks like. So now Evie here is helping. That's my daughter. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Got it.
Let's do a couple of rounds. Here.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What do you think the holiday of Sukkah is about?
It's about love and being kind to people.
Yes.
This is what is true love. Is to be kind to each other. So if you see like a limon,
Which is a pomegranate.
on something like on a tree, so you like find a limon on a tree, then you touch it, and then you can wish for something. Everyone.
So maybe Sukkot, because everybody has different interpretations of Sukkot. Maybe in your interpretation, by touching the harvest, the first harvest is like the first fruits that you pick from the tree, you make a wish, right?
Yeah, every single time when this is like this type of Sukkot, like, so you have to touch like any kind of fruit, and you can make like a wish with any kind of fruit.
And what do people wish for usually?
They wish for love. Sometimes.
Oh.
Like sometimes I wish like for the world to be a happy love.
Happy place.
And be kind.
Okay.
You should wish for love instead of life.
Okay, so we're gonna move forward a little bit.
You should wish for love.
Just move forward to my husband. We're moving a little forward. More. We'll keep going. Okay, keep going after the Lulav and stuff. Yeah. Okay, let's see the roof. Wow, look at that. Hi.
Hi. So this is a closed palm tree branch, known in Hebrew as a Lulav. And it's one of the Arbaat Aminim, the four species, they call it, that you bring into the Sukkah, in Sukkot. The other three are Etrog, Hadas, V'Arava. They each represent a character in the Jewish people. You want me to go into it?
Yes, I would love that.
Okay.
Let's start with
This is the Lulav. The characters, they divide into two things, which is taste and smell. That each thing represents something in the character. One represents following the Torah, the word of the Torah, and the other one is good deeds. Represents good deeds, mitzvot. So they say there are four characters. There's one that follows the Torah and does mitzvot, one that follows the Torah, doesn't do mitzvot, one that does mitzvot but doesn't follow the Torah, and one that doesn't do mitzvot and doesn't follow the Torah, which is, he's a bad guy. But in Sukkot, the beautiful thing is that you take these four things together, this Lulav, which doesn't have a smell, but it has taste. The fruit of it is the date, so it has taste. So basically, if I'm not mistaken, the taste is the Torah and the smell is the mitzvot. So this represents a person that follows the Torah but doesn't do mitzvot or doesn't do enough mitzvot. And in Sukkot, we take these four pieces together and tie them together to represent that no matter who you are in the Jewish people and how you choose to practice and what you do, we are still one people together. So it's a beautiful thing. And we are lucky enough to have a lulav that is beautiful and big. We have actually two. We have another one here to have in our sukkah. Maybe we'll give this one to a neighbor or something so they can have. And I'll try to cut it as beautifully as I can.
Great. Thank you so much.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Yeah.
Hi again.
Hi.
You can see we're taking our branches and just starting to create a roof for our sukkah. What I like to do is to keep the branch and then use the branch to weave them so they won't move as much. But it's a fun thing. You can go take a peek through the door to see how it starts to take shape and color. This is fun. My favorite part. Like the most fun part is starting soon, when our daughter is going to come in with all the little ornaments that she prepared out of colorful paper and all types of shapes, usually fruit shapes like pineapples, apples, pomegranates. And we start hanging them all around and hang colorful lights, and the whole place comes to life. You'll see it probably very soon.
You're so tall.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Not everybody works like that. Yeah. For me, it's like a regular person building a doghouse. Hopefully what we got will just do... Oh, look, a frog.
Where? Show
This
me.
guy.
Oh, he's green, just like the leaves.
Yeah,
Of course you can't even tell. It's
you want to get off?
He's so cute. I want to see his little face.
Come, say hi to the camera. It's okay if I pet you?
Do they like it? Oh, look how green look at his eyes. They're strange. Whoa, look at that.
Want to come to my hand? Probably not.
I like the contrast.
Oh,
He jumped really high.
Jump.
He went there. Wow.
Yeah.
What a cutie. Well, I hope he doesn't get caught in the leaves.
Well, if our daughter was here, she would grab him for sure.
Yeah, right.
Just force him to be her friend.
Hey, this is my son. Look how cute he is. And he's wearing this, you see this white shirt with the strings attached to it? You want to explain to our friends what that is?
This is this tzitzit. It's a tzitzit.
Yeah.
And you need to put it all day, every day. This is mitzvah tzitzit.
Why do you need to put it every day?
Because they say that if you put it, you don't think about like bad things, you know.
So it's a reminder.
Yeah, kind of.
To keep your mind clean. That's nice. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, how do I go back? Let's do this.
Murielle, that's great. I love
Thank you.
Miriam.
Hi.
Any questions so
He's
far?
a Moroccan Israeli artist, street artist, well-known street artist who also does a lot with refugees.
Oh, wow.
That's George. George,
okay.
join us.
Yeah.
So that was a little introduction of my private life, right? Because of everything that's going on right now. I've kind of gotten used to being at home and enjoying this time. It sounds very strange, but I really am enjoying it. I'm not running after my own tail, and neither is my husband. And we're starting to feel the roots of just the land we live in, not necessarily running after work or anything like that. And more so, I've been doing a lot of Idbodedut. I don't know if anybody know what that is. I'm sure a lot of you do. Yeah, so I made a little video for that, but I'm not going to show. I'm just going to tell you what I do is I discovered it by chance. I didn't even know I was doing it for a while until someone told me, oh yeah, that's Ibodedut. Basically, I go to the nature and I use all five of my senses. So by using all five of your senses, and why the nature, first of all, I don't even bring my phone. And I just bring in source, like I just bring in God. I just bring in God and I speak to God privately, in a private way, out loud. And that's one of your senses because you have to use your ears as well. And I usually go around this grove where I eat the fruit in the grove. And according to halacha, which is the way, which is it's like Jewish law.
Jewish law, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, the way it's called. One of the things they say is when you go into a field, you can eat as much as you want from the crop. You don't even have to ask the owner of the crop if you could take from it. You could eat as much because you are in God's home. Even though he's harvesting it, it doesn't belong to him. In the area, you can eat as much like a king. But the thing is, you cannot take it home. So that makes total sense. You don't take any of the fruit home, but you could eat as much as you want. So that's beautiful. And when I go there, I go to different areas in the Moshav, and there's tons of crops. And during different seasons, I just eat from the trees. And I talk to God out loud. And I don't ask for anything that is material. I ask just to understand who I am. You know, if I'm going through something, I ask God in my own voice, in my own words, if you could just help me to understand who I am and what is the best way to go about. And that just brings a lot of center and a lot of peace into me because I get all the answers. And at one point when I discovered this, and I didn't even know I was doing it, Ibodedut, I was going through a really hard time. It was when I first came to Israel. I had my son, I basically exported my son, you know, he was born here, but then I went to New York to live there because I had my business. And suddenly he got very sick. And I left New York and my apartment, my jewelry, my clothes, everything, and bought a one-way ticket to Israel. And I basically, in my luggage was basically it was all his clothes. I had probably 2 shirts and 1 pair of pants. That's it. And a lot of his diapers. And I brought a very sick child into Israel. But when I landed, I had kissed the ground, which was funny because it was actually cement. But I didn't care. I felt saved, you know? I felt that instinct, that mother instinct at the hospital to save my son was the instinct that no other person could even think twice, you know? That's just the obvious thing. Material, let it go. You just go for what your heart is telling you. And it told me the land. It told me the land that your son is born in. That was the instinct at the hospital. I signed him off. A day later, I bought a one-way ticket. And I was very afraid because he wasn't walking. He was sick. And the stewardess asked me, hey, why isn't he moving? Why is he so pale? I said, because he's traumatized this long distance. But really, I was bringing a very sick child into the country. And when I kissed the ground, I felt saved. I don't know how to explain it. It was something in the air. I don't know what it was. I brought him straight from the airport to a hospital, Soroka in Beersheba. It's in the south, in the Negev. And basically we were hospitalized there as well as like we were hospitalized in New York. But I knew that I had made the right decision. And ever since, it hasn't been easy. But even in its hardship, I felt like I did the best decision I could possibly make because it came from in here. Like this is where I feel that I'm from. I can't even explain it more than that. So I'm very attached to this land, as you can tell. And I love the people. I love traveling the land. I love seeing the people. I love people, you know. I guess you can say I just love people. I really do. I'm tough. I became very Israeli, you know. I say that like it is. And I made another video if we have a little time. It's 10 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have,
okay.
We have about 15 minutes left, so that would be great if we can get to the next.
Okay, great. So the video is my neighbor, and he's all about the land. So I really want to introduce you to Eran Metsuyanim. Okay, so this is a real Israeli, and I admire him and appreciate him, and I really want to share him with you. Okay, so let's do that. Here we go. You guys can see well?
Yep.
Okay. Can you see? I need one of the ears. Can you guys see?
Yeah, just try to make
Move
sure
it,
that
yeah.
the camera is capturing all the screen.
Okay. Okay, let's play.
Wait, your hand's on it. Your hand is on it. There you go.
Yeah.
And move it to the right.
A bit left.
Hi, my name is Eran Metsuyanim. I live in Moshav Gea since I born. My parents come here and my family come to Israel in 48 and live in a Moshav very near to this village. So we are in this area for the third generation. First of all, we live in the Bible land. Every meter here, there is historic. Just you go, a tractor come, dig, we saw a place 2,000 years ago. We see the history all the time. You can see here, this tree, you see this is Dekel. This is the Tamar. They found in Metzada a seed of this. In Mesada, they found seed of this. They took it and they start to, they make him alive and it become almost the same. Now a lot of scientists check what become different 3,000, 4,000 years ago and now, but it look like that. It sit in a kibbutz in the Arava, a seed from Metzada time. Every year I do 1 year of Masik and I have oil for all the year. Me and my brother and the kids, one day we go, we hit the trees, everything is fall down. If you want, I will call you in 1 month from now. Usually I come also to your house to take the olives. We go in the Moshav and take all the olives. You see, the oil, like in the Bible time. Pri Adar, it's very hard to make in Israel. In the 60s, they try, it take a lot of water, they have a lot of disease. We still make it lemon. But when I was a child, all this field was with Pri Hadar. Look, my son, this is Flimot Rock. It's a new breed that they bring to Israel. It's like a dog. This is the Sukkah. We take from here. We take this for the schach. Like they make, like our grandfather make when they leave Egypt, they use the same thing. If you see, we have here Guyava. It's still not ready. We have the Rimon. You see, this is Rimon ready. How you know it's ready? When it go very easily from the tree. I will open it. It's the best. A lot of vitamins. It doesn't need a lot of water. You can see. Pure red. I have here orange that now start to bring us. The orange almost ready. And now we have anabi. I will bring you one anabi here. One anabi. It tastes like an apple. It tastes like an apple. You can see. But it's sweeter than apple. Also, it doesn't need water. No bugs, no nothing. It's grow by himself. And you can eat it. You see, and
It tastes just like an apple.
I like it. Also, this tree, I use it. You have a very, very kotzim, needles, how you say?
Yeah, it's got thorns.
And now, fortunately, every once in a while, there is a thief in this area. So I put it in front of the window, and then I open the window, and no one can get in. Because if someone will want to go in, he will kill himself. We have pomela now. We have pomela. Yeah, it's still not the time. And we have the charuv. And this is the charuv. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in Meiron mountain sat in a cave and ate only charuv. This is what the legend said. He ate charuv. He has everything inside. It's sweet. You have all the minerals, everything. You have chelbon, you have everything, this charuv. The only problem that there is a lot of worm inside it. This is why we recommend to eat it in the dark. Because in the dark you don't see worm and you get extra chelbon. This is for tea. My wife, that is very, very smart and know everything, said that it's good against cancer. So we make tea from this. We have small lemon. Every morning when I wake up, I take one lemon. I put it, the first thing I put it in a big glass of water and drink it. And we have hot pepper.
What's this?
This, it's in 1 month from now, it will become very, very purple flower, big one, like very, very beautiful. It's called yichur. You take it out. Usually you need to put some land here. It will take from here roots, and then you take it out and you put it. And this one is exactly, look the flimot here. Come. This one, I thought it was a chicken, but now I discovered it's a rooster. This one, come. And now we need to make, I will give him for someone to eat him. I don't take it. This one, if I take out, it will become exactly genetic like the mother, and it will be a new tree. Today,
All you have to do is just plant it in. You don't.
yeah, I take it, put it in the land, and it will be exactly the same tree. Have a look. Now, I have here. This one is a Calypso tree. It doesn't bring fruit, but it makes a lot of honey for the bees. And when I was a child, I had a lot of bees. Every time I say, when I have time, I will make bees again. This one I put just because of the bees. It's making in the period in the Aviv, in the spring. It's give a lot of honey for the bees.
What, are you gonna make your own honey?
I said my neighbor have honey. Again, for the fun, for the family, not as a business. Again, Israel have the best weather. We can do whatever we want. The summer is not very strong and the winter is not very strong. So whatever we want, we can do. It's always nice. Even in the worst day in the winter, it's still nice. This is my sister also live in the Moshav, and my niece, my cousin, בני דודים, אחיינים, איך אומרים?
Yeah, nephews.
Nephews. We have two, me and my brother and two sisters. We all live here, yeah. Shalom, Inon.
Is the movie star now?
In Israel, no one kidnap kids. Everyone know everyone. We are all one big family. The kids playing alone, they go by bicycle to the trees, make fire, make things.
So this is how you were brought up? You were just
Yes.
free and everybody's kind of a part of the community, like a brother or a cousin or a friend?
Well, you know, there is people here that our parents was babies together, our parents. So we know every family here, third generation already, we know everyone. If you walk by the street and you see a crying boy, you know who is he, who is parents, who is grandparents. You know the phone, you can call them. This is why the kids free in Israel. They go by themselves.
When you were a kid, did you walk around barefoot? I see the kids,
Yes.
time goes by, they go with running shoes.
No, we will go barefoot. Also my kids, even this, I don't know why you have shoes now. Usually we go barefoot. It's very, very, very healthy to go barefoot. Maybe now they go because now this is the time that the snake, now this area. But it was inside the Moshav, it was barefoot. The Jewish people all the time, well, we love changing. This is why we survive. We all the time change. Computer, technology. We are much smarter. My kids are much, they talk English by themselves. I almost didn't speak English. You can see my lousy English. The only thing that I have is confidence. This is my only power. Yes. They asked a Jewish guy if he know how to play piano. So he said, I need to try and then I will tell you. We try everything. We know how to manage to combine things. This is what we are good to combine. Like we are combined from a lot of places in the world. We combine things. We take a little bit from that. Even my chicken, from French, from England, from America, we combine and make it better. You see, even our genetic is combined. My parents, Germany, Iran, Iraq, Tripoli, we are combined things, genetic and our mind. The food, the Israeli food, again, it's the best. Shimon Peres said that the best things of Jewish, We are never satisfied. We never sit and say, it's okay, it's okay. This cheese is okay. No, we eat the cheese 1 week and then said, how can I make it better? And the neighbor said, I make it better, I will make it even better. And we're always in the movement and we make things better. Come have a look, the bees. This is my neighbor. When I was a child, I started to build things like that and make kavarot. But I didn't have the knowledge how to make it better. Now, you make bees and you go to the internet and you learn. We make it just for fun. It's not a business. And you see, all of us, we are one family. It's not mine. I can come, I can talk to him. The open houses, every time we see in the movies, how if you want to go to your neighbor, it's not polite. You need to make booking in advance. Here I believe the light pure everything. The light clean everything. We are open. Whatever we think we said, whatever we want we take, and we're talking. So you don't close your house, close the door, no one will see. We're open. You can go inside to my house, it's full of mess, I don't care. This is how I live, and this is Israeli. Everything is open. This is why you can go to your neighbor without being the advance, because you are not shy or nothing. This is what I am. Take it or leave it. This is who I am. So in Israel, kids can go to friends. You don't ask in what time to take him back. He can go, and if the man wants to have a quiet, he will call me and take your son. I want quiet. When you talk direct, it's very easy. It's very easy. If someone wants for something, he will tell you. You don't need to think what he thinks and what he wants and what he really wants. If he wants something, he will tell you. You see, this is my neighbor's house. We are together. I can go to his house, open the refrigerator, take the milk and go back. Everything is freedom. What do I need to hide? If you want something, he take. The kids think you have this house and this house. All the houses are his. It's give him a lot of confidence. If I want to go, my son said, well, you are not here. The neighbor is here. He called them, they will come. If I hear shouting from the neighbor, I go, everything is okay. And it's not rude or something like I go into his, because I can't free. I know that sometimes people fight, sometimes a husband and a wife have problems. It's normal.
Okay.
This is gold.
I love him. Wait a second. I love him.
Where did you come up with this guy?
I love him. I love him. There's
This is
so
gold.
many. I've made so many videos. I can't even tell you. And this is, to edit this one, it was impossible because I said, I'm just going to put him but there's really amazing people. I'm telling you, to me, he represents Israel. Like this is the Israeli, right? You guys can understand, right?
I'm dying here. Look, this is like National Geographic where you see people in their habitats. Where you see animals in their habitats.
Right.
And then you have this guy.
It's awesome. He's all heart. He's all heart.
He's like a zoo. He's like a zoo creature.
What you see is what you get. That's it. What you see is what you get. It's the truth. You know, it's hard sometimes to get like criticism. If you ask someone, I know that I come from Montreal. If I used to ask someone, hey, can you tell me what you think? Does this look good on me? We're politically, correct. But here, there's no politically correct. It's like what you see is what you get. And you learn to appreciate the truth because they want the best for you, That's how I see it. There's no hidden agendas, nothing. I love Israel.
So
I love it.
I have a question for you, Murielle. I have a question.
It's
really fun, meeting your neighbors, meeting your family. Thank you so much for sharing all that. I'm just curious, is there like a traditional something where the whole Moshav gets together and
yes, of course.
Could you just give us a couple minutes on like what happens on the Moshav as a community on Sukkot? Like what do you guys do together?
Well, on Sukkot, I've been here for 5 years in this Moshav. Before this, I lived in a kibbutz. They do just get together on Sukkot. I'll just I want to think of things off the top of my head that really, like, I really enjoyed, okay? The gatherings. I'm not going to specifically go to Sukkot, okay? Because there is, but it's not what really stayed in my mind. What really captured me was there's a lot of events, and one of the events were like, hey, everybody, bring your tents. And was it around Sukkot, Ilhan, that time with the tents? Let's go to the park. It was around Pesach, right? Yeah, because it had to be warm. Everybody took their tents, and we went to this big lawn. We have this huge lawn in all the Moshavs. There's this huge, like, where you make the parties and all the gatherings. And we all had our tents, and it was an opportunity to meet the community. Like, a lot of them know each other, but there's always these newcomers like ourselves and a few other people in the newer section, which I videoed earlier, and they want to know us. So we just come and we just kind of make dinner together, barbecue, and we get to know each other. And there's like music, or people bring their own instruments, but everybody's together, and you just tent for one night. That's it. That's what it was. Just randomly tenting with a bunch of people that you don't know really, or they already know each other, but a lot of us didn't know them. I really appreciate that. There was another thing that I loved is everybody brings what they don't need from their home, and they bring it to that area, and they switch. Like, you bring, they bring, and then, other people's junk could be someone else's treasure, and then you just grab whatever you want, and you could give whatever you want. And it's like kind of like not even booths, just tables, and you just put it there. You don't even know who it came from, but I found the most beautiful terracotta bowls that way, and it's like beautiful. I can't even explain. There's really nice people. And the kindergarten. Oh yeah, I have to tell you about the kindergarten. Sorry. My daughter's kindergarten, they really believe in getting the kids like dirty. So there was like this one day where there was like mud, puddle. They had the kids come with their bathing suits, and they took pictures of the kids in the puddle getting dirty and feeling the mud all over themselves. There was nothing gross about it. It was to open them up to like no fear, no disgust, just go for it. This is what the nature is, go slime yourself in there, get dirty, and a lot of people believe that if you do such, you avoid allergies. And as they're mutating allergies, with peanuts and all that stuff, it's just you don't hear so much of allergies in kids. You do, but not so much here as you do back at home where I'm from, Montreal or other places. So this is what you feel. And the fruits and vegetables, like you could just grab them off any neighbor's tree. You ask them, of course, but they give you, because it's plush with fruits. Everybody. You just saw my neighbor's fruits, but everybody. My other neighbor has a huge mango tree filled with mangoes. It's like you can see more mango than you can see green, and you're free.
Are most people working in agriculture and selling that?
It started that way. It started that way. One of the neighbors that I did interview that didn't make it to this because it's short time, right? Talked about his family and how hard it was when they first came, because the country gave them land so they could produce, right? And some crops weren't doing so well, and sometimes they didn't really have food, and it was hard times, really hard times, and it wasn't developed like what you saw in the video that I sent you earlier. It was really like living the land, and all the family, the children, everything had to work the crop. And then with time, what saved the Moshavs, they say, is these new sections, the one that I videoed, because it's the children of the children. So, just bringing back the community, and it's no longer so much about crops. There are some people that do still produce, but not so much. I did make a video of the crops of the old Moshav, because I live in the new Moshav, the new section. I went to the pioneers, but again, no time in this video. So I would have showed you what that was about. Like, these people are all about the land. Yeah.
I want to see if anybody else has any questions. So please.
Oh, okay, here, very interesting. What's the difference between a kibbutz and a moshav? Okay, I'll tell you, because I lived in a kibbutz as a toshevet, which means a renter, an outsider. So it worked like this. Since I lived in Israel, it's 13 years now, I've lived in 6 kibbutz, okay? And this is the first moshav that I live in. And if I have to compare what I like more, I definitely like the moshav, because moshav is to each your own. It's to each their own, Each piece of land is your own. It's like you don't owe anything to nobody. As of the kibbutz, it's about community. Yes, you really feel the commune. Everybody works together. As a matter of fact, I have another video where I videoed people that came from the kibbutz, and they talked about the children house, which means like when they built the land, they had to build the land and they had to build these communities. So they put their kids in these homes right after they were born. And basically the babies grew up with other babies, yeah. And they became the brothers and sisters, not their biological brothers and sisters, yeah. And they would only see their parents in the afternoons for like an hour for dinner or something like that. And then they'd go back to the children's house. So it did a lot of harm because they were experimenting. There was another lady that talked about a kibbutz where they were experimenting with toys to see like which toys would work. Let's give the boys toys to the girls and the girls to the boys, and no matter what, you can't change that. The girls went for the dolls, the boys went for the trucks or the cars. And they even at one point said that they went into the showers together, like they were brothers and sisters, kind of like in these children's houses, at an age where a woman would really want to cover herself. So that was a little uncomfortable. But to me, my interpretation of the kibbutz where I lived, I didn't feel free. And I'm sorry if I'm saying this. There's a lot of really good things, but you all live in the same houses. Like everything is built like cookie cutter, so that you put all your money. It doesn't matter if you're like a big doctor or a cleaning lady. All the money goes into the pot of the kibbutz, and then it's split equally to the families. And then that pot of money, but there's a lot of politics in that. A lot of it is not fair, I'm sure. And you know what I mean? It's not community and communism like that. I don't really, it doesn't ring with me. And you felt the hierarchy. I felt I was the lowest of the lowest. Not only was I a renter, which is a toshevet, but I was an outsider. I came from New York City and originally from Montreal. So I felt that separation, it was very hard for me. But even in that hardship, I loved every moment of it because I had the opportunity to live in a real kibbutz. Like out of all the kibbutz I lived in one that was really real. It's called Tzelim. It was wonderful. And the people were really like the ideal of a kibbutz, everybody sharing. And what I love the most is that it was one big family, and by that point in the 70s, they already stopped the children home. So it was like less psychological problems with the the people of my age and stuff. But everybody was there to help. Like during Sukkah, I remember Sukkot, everybody helped on each other's Sukkot. Like it wasn't just one per home. It was like everybody, okay, let's do his Sukkot today and let's do his. And then they'd go around and just build each other's Sukkots, So that was really a sense of community. But again, you do feel the hierarchy, and I didn't enjoy that. And I didn't feel like I could build a rocket ship in kibbutz. As of here, I could feel I could build a rocket ship if I wanted to. The freedom is here for me.
Great. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions before I know we're running a little late, but please feel free. If you have a question, you can turn on your mic and ask it directly as well.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. That was really interesting. I was on a kibbutz a long time ago for a summer and learned Hebrew. What would you say about the health of the kibbutz system and the Moshav system? Are they still popular, or have they declined in terms of the number of people coming into the country or choosing to live there?
You mean in general before COVID, like the health?
Yeah.
It's so much better. It's so much better. Like, I don't know how it was in your time, but first of all, we have a Kupat Cholim clinic in each, and what's great is that you don't have to wait in line and you're not like catching someone else's. It's within the community and they're very on top of it. You do feel, I actually personally, I feel the most healthy that I've ever felt living within these communities. And the food.
I wasn't thinking about physical health or COVID, just how many people are choosing to live in the Moshav network or the kibbutz network. They used to be very popular because of the immigration from all over the world, and that is slowed for sure. So are people choosing to live there? Or are the numbers, are they closing kibbutzim, or are they closing any of the Moshavs, or are they still stable and growing?
Actually,
I understand your question better. Yeah,
I was
I
just going to
understand
say,
your question better.
It's interesting that you asked that because a lot of the Moshavim and even the Kibbutzim have, they have what they call harchavas, which is an expansion. They've been expanding over the last several years, taking some of their excess land and turning them into residential areas because they actually offer a really wonderful community in which to raise children or just to whatever, to retire. Now, people who go in there may not necessarily have the same benefits as the original owners because the people who have been there from the beginning actually participate in the profits. Same thing at the Moshavim, those who are living there for a while actually have land and maybe they're selling crops or whatever, but they have excess land that they have sold to people to come and live on that because it's popular. They're like beautiful areas, maybe they have nice views, maybe they're great places to live. On a personal note, we built in a Moshav and actually moved last week, and we'll be there starting probably next month. And we're part of what they call an expansion. So those expansions have become very, very popular. And that's one aspect. But the other aspect is the kibbutz and the health of the kibbutz in terms of as a society. And maybe Murielle, you can speak to that aspect, like the original kibbutz concept and how that has held up over time or not held up over time.
Yeah, some of it hasn't held up, but what saved them is the new sections. Exactly. It has saved them a lot, even in the kibbutz. Like the last kibbutz I lived in, that's what actually saved them. So it's kind of the same thing. Or some kibbutz are very rich because they have a factory that does very well. And of course, individually, they're all sharing the pot, right? But it's very, a lot of them have factories to live off, but most of them don't really do so well. So this new section kind of land is actually what's saving them today.
Thank you.
Karen, I'll just say that, I want to add, if you don't mind, I'll just say that about 70 or a little less than 70 kibbutzes out of the almost 300 are still commune. They still share profits. The rest is we're privatized since the 80s. So it's 80s, 90s, most of them were privatized. So they are more like a Moshav in a way now. I'll just say another thing, the global economy and the lack of stability in the market, it makes the younger generation of the people of the kibbutz, let's say people my age, like in the 30s, want to go back to their kibbutz and get their share over there. It's not automatic. It takes a little bit, but they feel like they will have some stability in their life, at least financially as well. So there is a drive. It is another another drive for the people to go back to the kibbutz.
Yeah, and if you think about it, cities are growing and it's becoming a little too stuffy in cities and stressful. It's kind of like going to live in the country, but because Israel is so small, you're only traveling half an hour, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and you're in the country. Like, who wouldn't want a country house and then go work in the city? It's actually a luxury today. People didn't see it that way back then.
And Karen, to your question, some of these kibbutzim have done incredibly well. Like, for example, Rephaem, which developed the sprinkler system at kibbutz, I think it was Magan Michael, but also at Magal, at Kibbutz Dan. There's a number of kibbutzim that came together.
Your friend's kibbutz, what is it?
Yeah,
the one
to produce
the
it,
lighter.
to create Rephaem, which is like a consortium of a bunch of different kibbutzim, and then that was purchased and many of the original kibbutz members are seriously millionaires. They've done very, very well.
That's right.
They were purchased by, large conglomerates. So you do have those kinds of instances too. So, there's
like Be'eri, there was a kibbutz next to our kibbutz, which was Tzelim. Tzelim is one of those kibbutz that still keep the tradition. Like, you would have breakfast, lunch, and dinner being taken care of. It was like living in a Club Med. They do your laundry. My son at age 2.5 would walk to the kindergarten alone. There's no cars running in the kibbutz. It's not like a Moshav where a car could come in. The roads inside are all for walking, and it's like a little La La Land type of cookie cutter houses. Like, it just looks like something out of a fairy tale, a kibbutz, because it's very into agriculture as well. So everywhere you go, it's like plush, and it's all about community. It's like Club Med. So it's something, it's an experience. So I'm happy that I lived this experience. But there's the good and there's the bad. And for me, the bad was like, I didn't feel free, you know, and my freedom is everything to me.
I appreciate and respect and love your sense of coming home to Israel and how you felt so much like this is really where I need to be and want to be. I guess philosophically, it feels like the Moshav life is more individualistic and it's a space for self versus the kibbutz philosophically is the collective. Still, it was building up the country. Do you think with the younger generation that there's still a lot of loyalty or commitment to the collective good and advancing Israel so that people would choose the kibbutz as a collectivist statement for Israel versus the Moshav being more self-centered, or is that changed? Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I understood up until a certain point, but then I lost it.
I don't think the Moshav is self-centered, I'll just say, Karen.
It's more individualistic.
Better balance between individual and collective life, I think, in a Moshav versus the kibbutz that I heard it from many people that it's a little too crumpy, like too much people under each other's skin. That's a lot of the stories that I've heard. Yeah.
I think also they have it in them, you know, it's from generation to generation, the land. Look at Mitsuyanim, Eran Mitsuyanim. Look how proud he was to talk about everything about the third generation, like the four brothers and sisters still live there, you know. It's in your blood, I guess, to develop that. But I can see how it's slowly moving its way out because the new people that came to live in the new section here, a lot of them are just from the city and they're just like, we want like a nice piece of land and to live in like, you know, you would call that nature.
But not just that. I think to your question, Karen, is that the Moshav is, you know, I mean, was principally like the sharing of the agricultural, you know, the crops that people still could live and raise their children individually. So it was kind of bridged those two worlds between totally living individually as we do when we grow up, you know, basically in the US and in Israel, if we're not part of a community, versus the kibbutz, which was totally like the socialist type of undertaking, which obviously as a whole did not quite work either because we had a lot of failed kibbutz and they had to be, you know, privatized. But
it was socialist. It was socialist for the sake of building up the country.
Absolutely.
Right? People poured themselves into.
That's right. And at that time, it was necessary. It worked for that time. But I think what Murielle's pointing out is that now here we are in 2020, and there is that sense of I want to belong to something. You know, we don't want to just all be, you know, there's that yearning to be a part of a community, and not everywhere. You know, certainly in Israel, where, I mean, we have lots of communities all around, and I feel very much part of my community in Renana, which is not a Moshav and not, you know, not a kibbutz, but I think I'm lucky in that way. I think there's many places that you can live in and even in Renana too, where you don't feel like you're part of a community, and going to a Moshav or to a kibbutz in an expansion area, part of that decision making is saying to yourself that I want to be a part of something, because there's also a process. You have to get approved. You have to sit, you know, there's like a board and they like look at your background and you have to say, yeah, I want to go to activities and I want to be part of something. I don't want to just like live there and this is my address. So there is a part of like participation that you have to demonstrate, and at least verbally, you know, and no one's really going to lie about something like that, yeah, I really like people and I want to be part of something and I want to connect, and more than just living individually.
I want to tell you that makes a lot of sense, because that brought up an idea that I remembered when I gave birth to my daughter in the kibbutz, in a son and a daughter. Okay, they took care of everything. They said this week there was this list. I didn't even know most of them. This week I'm making dinner for her. This week I'm bringing the lunch. This week I'm doing the laundry. This week. It was crazy. It was like a community that came together of people that I kind of said hi. I didn't really know them, but they made like a whole meal for me for a lunch, dinner for a whole week.
Right.
I'll just say that I live in Jerusalem, big city, but it's very community oriented, and we have the same thing. Women,
here too. but not everybody has that.
No,
And,
not everybody. Not
and
everybody.
I see that. I mean, we're quite lucky, but, and I think that is one of those yearning things that people want to have when they're looking to move into that kind of a community. And I would.
Miriam?
You have a question?
Muriel.
Yes, yeah,
Muriel,
yeah.
sorry. I relate to some of the things that you said in an odd way. My family came down from Canada. They were Scots. But so our promised land was always going back up to Canada. And when I got to Canada, then I discovered the concept of crown lands. And I lived in Newfoundland, and the crown lands were where the food was. And you could go there and take any food you wanted. For example, we had 5 kinds of berries, and we all went out there berry picking. And oh, I'll put my video on so you can see me. And so we all went berry picking, and people hunted, and they got their moose and whatnot. And there's no, and in Scotland too, both in Canada and in Scotland, you could camp anywhere, in Newfoundland at least. You could camp anywhere, no permit, just go camp. So I always have this urge to go back to Canada, and but now I can't because they say I'm too old. I can't be a permanent resident anymore. But you can camp, and you can camp anywhere in Scotland. It's legal, and in Newfoundland, and I don't know about the rest of Canada, but so that's always been my promised land. And I'm like, oh, she left Canada. Oh my gosh. But I can understand it. And if I were Jewish, I would go to Israel and be just like you. I'm sure of it.
Yeah,
Canada.
I guess to be honest, we all want to find our roots, you know, as individuals. We all want to know where we're from, even though we live among all types of people.
Yeah.
It's a sense of identity, and it makes sense. Like, being Jewish is a little more difficult than most people, because I don't know about you, but I know for me, when I lived in Canada and America, like when I would present myself as Jewish, or I'd say I'm Jewish, you know, even if they wanted to know me or like me, there was something that always crosses, like, oh, like they have to put something together somehow, you know,
Yeah.
and they're uncomfortable. And it's a weird feeling. But when I came here, I didn't feel that anymore, you know? So it's like, wait, they can understand me, you know? How amazing is that?
And I get that. And I'm like that when I'm in my Scottish community in Canada and I speak the language, and I feel that way in Scotland. And but what's very curious is I was a Unitarian and was recruited by a Jewish humanist congregation to teach Jewish history and culture for the 4th graders. And when I joined that community as a teacher, I realized, oh my God, these people are like me with my Scottish community. And so the people that I connected to the best in the United States was the Jewish humanist congregation. I knew all the folk songs because I went to a camp and my counselors were Jewish, and they taught me all those. And they didn't know I wasn't Jewish because I was doing all the singing. But I thought, isn't that interesting? My tribal Scottish self relates to this tribal Jewish self, and I'm in this community, and I really feel like I belong. It was very odd. I loved it.
Amazing. Amazing.
That sense
Thank you for sharing that, Susan.
Americans don't have of their ethnicity and their culture and their language.
I'm afraid that, you know, with time, this is a new country, old and new, obviously. I'm afraid with time, the fact that we could get things easier, and I like when I think of Israel, I think of like, they didn't get it that easy, you know? It's about being on survival mode, you know, you're surviving. So if things come a little easy, you become a little more spoiled, and I'm afraid that this identity could lose itself, you know? So I'm capturing it now, because I wish that we could be united, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's the most beautiful thing, unity.
Yeah, it's great. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I want to thank you, Murielle. I know we got way over, but we had some excellent questions, and And really, thank you so much for sharing everything about your life there and your family and taking us really inside your heart and inside your home and showing us how you celebrate. And Itamar, thank you for your insightful overview of Sukkot. And I want to thank everybody for joining. I'm going to sign off and end this, and hopefully you'll join us next week on our next program. Have a good week. Happy holiday.
Thank you,
and
everyone.
Stay safe.
Thank you,
everybody.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Chag Sukkot Sameach.